So friends, we have encountered with this problem that the registration form is ready, but we are not able to validate it properly, right? So there is something which is very useful, that is form validation class. If I navigate to table of contents, under libraries, we have this form validation class. This form validation class is one of the most used things which I usually do, because it's very convenient and it gives you more security. For example, if we are using validation using JavaScript and in browser we have not enabled the JavaScript, those validation will not work. So as a result, I usually use form validation class. So let's try to check this article. In here we have this classic example. Let's navigate to the controller part directly. In here, if we load the form validation class, we can check or we can run the validations. If the validation gives us a false value, then we will reload the form, and if the validation is true, means everything looks okay, then we will load the form success. Let's try to integrate this little thing to our controller. So now we have converted our sign up function with reference to form validation class. In here, if the form validation run equal to false, means there is an issue with the validation, then load the sign up view. Alright, and if there is not an issue and the validation is equal to true and everything looks okay, then we can proceed further with insertion of the user. Again, in here I have used one if statement, using which if there is some issue in the database level, then it will show us an error message. I will also add one message in else, as we have did previously, in order to check whether everything is okay or not. And here we will do success. We will later on down the line, we will improve on this by using view to display this message. Alright, so now if I navigate in here and type in some values, then it will reload this view. And I have also deleted all the entries in the database table. Even now there is no entries. Why it happened? Because we haven't set any of the rule in order to check the form validation. Now how to set rules? Let's try to check that. Here is an example, setting up form rules. The name of the function is set_rules. And how to set rules? In here there are 3 parameters. So the first parameter of set rule is the name, and the name needs to be identical with the name of the input field. So take a note of it. It needs to be perfectly identical. Alright. The second parameter of the set rules function is the name, which would be referred in your validation error message. And lastly, the rules. Now in here, in this example, the rule is required. There could be multiple rule using a pipe symbol. I will show you that. Down the line, if I navigate, there are many rules available by Codeigniter. So this is the table of rule reference. Here is the list of rules available for us. So going forward, let's start with a very simple rule, the email address. So the email address needs to be a valid email address, and we have a rule for it. Let's try to check the rule. In here we have this valid_email rule. So we will add this rule in our set rules function, and let's try to do that. Now the rules would be, the first parameter is names, which would be identical, it would be email, right? So we are typing in for email, and we will keep E as a capital case in message, and last one would be valid email. Alright, so this looks good. And now if I now go ahead and try to submit this form, let's try that. Password 123 123 and register. then it will show me a message of success. And if I navigate to users, here we have successfully inserted this record. Now I will again reload this page and make some dummy text in here. And if I hit enter, you are able to see the screen has refreshed and nothing happened. Why? Because we haven't displayed any error message. Now how to display the error message is the next question. Let us also check whether we have inserted the record or not. No, there is no insertion of record. Now apart from this, we can also show the error message. How we can show that? Let's try to check that. If I navigate up in this article, we have these hyperlinks. In here we have this hyperlink of showing error individually. Let's click on this. In here we can check that if we want to show error, we can use this particular function, echo form error. Now friends, it is very important that this function needs to be placed in view, not in your controller. Why inside view? Because we are displaying something and view is responsible to display all the stuff. And we will place this message just below this input screen, input field. So using this particular code, we would be able to display the error of the form. Alright, let's try to check the concept register. Awesome. It is giving us this error. The email field must contain a valid email. And also note that the spelling of email is exactly what we have defined in the function. E is capital case. So this is how we can validate